Leading with Lineage.
California Reparations Task Force hearings.
Final report recommendations.
California Freedmen Affairs Agency, CAFA office.
The Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice.
Free the land, eminent domain, unjust property taking return.
The Mass Media Group was there. Reparations Now, the documentary where it all began.
Released Juneteenth, 2023.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR room, don't tune in.
Available to watch on Tubi TV and other streaming outlets. As always, thank you for the support. Please like, share, and subscribe to your number one source for reparations and news. Until next time, peace and reparations. All right, family, we are back in the building, and we are going to be going over these reparations bills for California Appropriations Committee coming up this Wednesday, June 26th. As always, I'm here with my wonderful, esteemed colleagues in the building. My name is Umoya.
And I am Kim.
And I am Darlene. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, so I guess, Kim, if you'd like to start us off with a little housekeeping. reparationsnowdoc.com, reparationsnowdoc.com. Get all access behind the scenes, etc., etc.
Reparations Now, the documentary, is also available to stream right now on Tubi TV.
etnmediagroupstore.com. That's etnmediagroupstore.com. We can get all the latest merch, and you can click on the link in the description of this video. So go to that link, click on that link, get yourself some nice, wonderful merch.
All right, it's a great way to support ETM Media and a great way to show your support for lineage-based reparations. Also, hit the Amazon, ETM Amazon affiliate link before you do all of your Amazon shopping. We know that you love to shop on Amazon anyway. That's another way that you can help ETM out.
And it is free. The 1866 Reconstruction Treaties between the United States and the Oklahoma tribes. We will be setting up another read in the future, so be on the lookout for that.
All right, and as you know, we are in full legislative cycle. If you need to reach out to or want to reach out to your California state representative, you can scan this screenshot this, scan the code, put in your address information, and it will tell you who your representative is, who represents you in your district.
Senator Stephen Bradford, representing the 35th District down in the city of Gardena. Isn't that right, Darlene? He's in Gardena, right?
Gardenia,
yeah. The future. Yes, if you have a chance, please check out the interview / discussion that we had with Senator Stephen Bradford right here on the Mass Media Group YouTube page on our platform.
All right, this is this wonderful. Okay. 41, 21, 1. And that will equal California reparations. 41 assembly members, 21 senators, and 1 governor equals California reparations. And we all know that it already has passed out of the Senate. And now we will be discussing going forward what needs to be done with the assembly members. We've already were voted out of the Judiciary Assembly, and now we're headed to the Appropriations on June 26th. That's next Wednesday. If you're in the area, come by. So maybe we could put up that slide again with the address.
I think we have the slide, right, Kim, somewhere?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Boom.
California Appropriations.
Yes, if you're in the area, come by and give a Me Too statement to let them know you support these reparations-based bills.
Absolutely.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Become a member right here on our channel. We'll get a little behind the scenes content, some community conversations, and a lot more other content that we're going to be putting up. So definitely we appreciate your support. As always, become a member and you get exclusive content, because there's some things that we can't actually have all the public to watch. So that's why we have created this membership plan. So we appreciate you supporting the platform and what we do, and because this is a community-led media platform, we appreciate y'all's support. So thank you. AB 106, where is the monies? Where is that moolah, family? You have a chance. There's a playlist as well that you can click on. Did 6 readings on this in this series, so check that out, because you probably will find some value in it, especially if you live here in California. And I do recommend everybody, if you are a resident in other states within the United States, look up your budget bill as well to see how you can take advantage of the budgets that are going on in your state, because there's lots of money out there. Once again, you could subcontract with some of these organizations, and there might be some other like construction going on around in your area that you might be able to take advantage of, or some other opportunities. So when you have a chance, definitely listen to AB 106 or read it yourself. That's up to you, but you do have some options either way.
You are to be commended on that. That was not a easy or a quick read. So you are appreciated, Memoria.
Oh, thanks, darling. Yeah, it definitely was not a quick read. A lot of numbers, definitely a lot of numbers going through there and finding out and picking some things out. And I know we're going to move on, but I just want to say that they're giving money to a lot of others out there. So if they can give money to others, they can definitely give money to freedmen related specific entities, groups, and especially cash money coming up. So yeah, so definitely check it out, family. All right, so let's see. All right, so I guess let's get into what we came here to get into. I guess, Kim, you're going to start off with SB 1403.
Yes, SB 1403, which is the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. We'll go ahead and read through that again. Like I say, we could not touch on this information too many times, so we're going to read through it once again. SB 1403, California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, 2023-2024, revised June 11, 2024. So as you can see from that last date there was a revision on June 11th.
All right, and just Kim and Darlene, just let me know if I need to scroll up or down too as well.
All right, Senate Bill number 1403, California Legislature 2023-2024 regular session, introduced by Senator Stephen Bradford, and it looks like we have quite a few co-authors here that have been added. Senator Cortez and Senator Smallwood Cuevas and Wahab. Co-authors in the assembly, we have Assemblymember Bonta, Bryan, Gibson, Holden, Jackson, Joan Sawyer, Carla, McCarthy, McKinner, Weber, and Wilson. So a pretty good round out of co-authors on SB 1403. That's good to see. All right. An act to amend Section 11041 of and to add Part 14, commencing with Section 16,000 to Division 3 of Title 2 of the Government Code related to state government. Legislative Council Digest, SB 1403 as amended, Bradford, California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, former law until July 1, 2023, established the task force to study and develop reparations proposal for African Americans with special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. Former law required the task force, among other things, to identify, compile, and synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation of the institution of slavery that existed within the United States and the colonies as specified, and to recommend the form of compensation that would be awarded, the instrumentalities through which it should be awarded, and who should be eligible for this compensation. This bill will establish the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency in state government under the control of the Secretary, who would be appointed by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. The bill will require the agency to implement the recommendations of the task force as approved by the legislature and governor. The bill will require the agency, as part of its duties, to determine how an individual's status as a descendant would be confirmed. The bill would also require proof of an individual's descendant status to be a qualifying criterion for benefits authorized by the states for descendants. To accomplish these goals, the bill will require the agency to be comprised of a genealogy office and an Office of Legal Affairs. The bill would further require the agency to oversee and monitor existing state agencies and departments tasked with engaging in direct implementation of policies that fall within the scope of the existing state agencies and departments' authority, including policies related to reparations. Existing law prohibits a state agency, with certain exceptions, from employing any in-house counsel to act on behalf of the state agency or its employees in any judicial or administrative adjunctive proceeding in which the agency is interested or is a party as a result of office of official duties or contracting with outside counsel for any purpose. This bill would exempt the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency from the above described prohibition. Vote majority, appropriations no, fiscal committee yes, local program no. You want to go ahead and pick it up from there, Darlene?
Well, I sure will. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you, ma'am.
The people of the state of California do enact as follows. Section 1. Section 11041 of the Government Code is amended to read 11041A, Section 11042 does not apply to the Regents of the University of California, the trustees of California State University, Legal Division of the Department of Transportation, Division of Labor Standards Enforcement of the Department of Industrial Relations, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board, Public Utilities Commission, State Compensation Insurance Fund, Legislative Council Bureau, Inheritance Tax Department, Secretary of State, State Lands Commission, Alcoholic Beverage Control Appeals Board, quote, except when the board affirms a decision of the state of alcoholic beverage control, end quote. Department of Cannabis Control, except in proceedings in state or federal court, State Department of Education, Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, California American Freedmen Affairs agencies, and the Treasurer with respect to bonds, nor to any other state agency which, by law enacted after Chapter 213 of the Statutes of 1933, is authorized to employ legal counsel. B. The trustees of California State University should pay the cost of employing legal counsel from their existing resources. Section 2, Part 14. Commencing with Section 16000 is added to the Division 3 of Title 2 of the Government Code to read, Part 14, California American Freedmen Affairs Agencies, Chapter 1, Definitions. 16000 for purposes of this part, A. Agency means the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency. B. Descendants means descendants of an African American chattel slave and enslaved person in the United States, or descendants of a free black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. C. Secretary means the Secretary of California Freedmen Affairs Agency. D. Task Force means the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States as established under former Section 8301.1. Chapter 2, General. 16001A, the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency is hereby established in state government. The agency shall be under the direct control of the Secretary, who shall be responsible to the Governor. B. The Secretary of the agency shall be appointed by the Governor and confirmed by the state, and shall perform all duties, exercise all powers, assume and discharge all responsibilities, and carry out and effected all purposes vested by law in the office. The salary of the Secretary shall be fixed pursuant to Section 12001. Chapter 3, Powers and Duties. 16002. The agency shall implement the recommendations of the task force as approved by legislation and the Governor. As part of its duties, the agency shall determine how an individual's status as a descendant shall be confirmed. Proof of an individual's descendant status shall be a qualifying criteria for benefits authorized by the state for descendants. To accomplish these goals, the agency shall include both of the following offices. A genealogical office to support potential reparations claimants by establishing a procedure for conducting or verifying genealogical research to confirm reparations eligibility and to provide expedient assistance with the reparations claim process. B. The Office of Legal Affairs to provide legal advice, counsel, and services to the agency and its officials, and to ensure that the agency's programs are administered in accordance with applicable legislative authority. The office shall also advise the head of the agency of legislative, legal, and regulatory initiatives and serve as an external liaison on legal matters with other state agencies and other entities. 16003. The agency shall oversee and monitor existing state agencies and departments tasked with engaging in direct implementation of the policies that fall within the scope of the existing state agencies and departments' authorities, including policies related to reparations. And that is the end of SB 1403.
All righty. Thank you, Kim and Darlene, for that wonderful read. Do we have any comments on here, or should we go to the next bill?
Well, let's go back and look at the revisions. As we noted,
start from the top.
there are several new co-authors, so that's a good thing. Looks like the totality of the CLBC, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like it.
Looks like it, with two additional.
It was Calra and
Cortez and Waha.
Cortez.
Well, what, three additional?
Cortez and Waha, yes.
Yeah, three additionals.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's a new
All
development there.
A good development.
Definitely.
Let's keep scrolling.
Governor
Governor
and confirmed. Okay.
and confirmed by the Senate. So, in addition to being a governor choice, the secretary of the COFA office will have to be confirmed, which is basically being vetted by the Senate. Everybody needs to be on one accord when selecting the secretary. So, that adds some additional checks and balances to the process. So, that's a good thing there.
All right. So existing law prohibits a state agency, with certain exceptions, from employing any in-house counsel to act on behalf of the state agency or its employees. Interesting. Do we have any comments on this one, or is it just it is what it is?
We do have comments. So they're saying that you typically can't have your own attorneys wrapped up in the department, but it looks like on the next line here, they're making an exception for the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency to be exempt from that prohibition. So it looks like there will be in-house attorneys allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. But when we look at other state agencies, I mean, that clearly have to be exempt, or the DOJ comes to mind. It looks like they staff attorneys, unless I'm mistaken. So definitely would be a good exception for the COFA office as well.
Absolutely. All right, so this is interesting. So the government code is amended to read, so they're going to be adding, if I'm correct, the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency to the government code.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And it looks like they made an update from freedman, M-A-N, plural, to freedmen, M-E-N. Plural.
No,
I meant
man,
singular.
man,
Yeah, I was like,
Man, singular, men, plural.
Yes. But I think that's been there. That particular change has been there for a while.
Oh,
So
that's been there for a
I
minute.
wouldn't think that's not new.
Okay, nothing new.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to go take a look back, because I think that's relatively new. The MEN? I don't know.
I mean, it might be relatively new, like April, May, but it wasn't for this one.
Oh, okay.
Because if you, I don't think there's now this says SB 1403. If you go back to the top, they say revised. They don't use the term amended. So if you scroll back at the top 1 minute, so these. So is amendment and revised the same thing?
That's a good question.
I mean, the information about the in-house attorney seems pretty substantial, like a pretty substantial addition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know if
don't know.
amended and revised. I mean,
It could mean the same.
it is like technically,
Yeah.
you know, just from word choice is the same thing, but I don't know from, you know, legislative standpoint, when you say something's amended between revised, does that mean, like, does the amended mean, okay, that we accept these changes now, so now it's in this status of being amended instead of revised? I mean, I don't know.
I'm about to look it up. I don't know.
Question.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are my only thoughts on that.
The governor shall appoint the secretary of state, who the secretary shall be appointed by the governor. Okay, so that's the same change. The governor and
That's
Senate.
the same change.
Judge for claimants by providing access, establishing a process for conducting or verifying, providing access to expert, establish. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that is what it is. So let's move on to the next.
Well, it is a, may I say that it is a niece a much needed first order, as the task force has recommended. Without this, there would be no reparations.
Absolutely.
So this must be, this is a first order need.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and I guess since you and Kim, Darlene, started off with the 1403, I'll start out with the 1331, and if I feel like I need some assistance, which I might, I'll go ahead and ask if that's okay. All right, so let's start with SB 1331, the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice. I don't believe too many revisions have been changed, if any, but we're going to read it anyway.
Yes, this was last amended May 16th.
Yeah.
Yes, can never touch on this information too many times. As we see, no new co-authors have been added.
Yeah.
So we've still got introduced by Senator Stephen Bradford. And I'll let you take it away, Moya.
Exactly. All right, let's go. Introduced by Senator Stephen Bradford, February 16th, 2024. An act to add Chapter 6.1, commencing with Section 6630 to Division 7 of the title of the Government Code relating to state government. Legislative Council's Digest, SB 1331, as amended, Bradford, the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice. Previously existing law established until June 1st, 2023, the task force to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans with a special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. Previously existing law required the task force to, among other things, identify, compile, and synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation of the institution of slavery that existed, interjection, still may exist, just my opinion. Let's continue. Within the United States and the colonies that became the United States as specified, and to recommend appropriate remedies in consideration of the task force findings as specified. Previously existing law required the task force to submit a written report of its findings and recommendations to the legislature as specified. This bill would establish the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice in the state treasury for the purpose of funding policies approved by the legislature and the governor that address the harm that the state of California has caused to descendants of an African American child enslaved person or descendants of a free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. The bill would authorize the fund to receive monies from any other federal, state, or local grant, or from any private donation or grant as specified. The bill would also make related findings and declarations. I'm going to repeat that again. The bill would authorize the fund to receive monies from any other federal, state, or local grant, or form any private donation or grant as specified. The bill would also make related findings and declarations. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. All right, how much? Okay. You know what? I think I can take this one. Yeah, I think I can finish it off. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. Section 1, Chapter 6.1, commencing with Section 6630, is added to Division 7 of Title 1 of the Government Code to read, Chapter 6.1, the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice, 6630. The legislature finds and declares all the following. A. California has begun the process of addressing the state's role in accommodating and facilitating slavery, as documented in the California Reparations Report and sources cited therein, perpetuating the vestiges of enslavement, propagating state-sanctioned discrimination, and facilitating persistent systemic policies and practices discriminating against living African Americans across its systems of government at the local and state level. B. As a result of the historic and continued discrimination, African Americans in California, especially those whose lineage can be traced to an enslaved person, continue to suffer economic, educational, and health hardships that have prevented them as a people from achieving equality. just a quick interjection. I want to say equality and equity. Let's just put that out there. All right. C, in order to maintain slavery, government actors adopted white supremacist beliefs and passed laws to create a racial hierarchy and control enslaved and free African Americans. D, after the end of slavery, although the federal constitution recognized African Americans as citizens on paper, the government failed to give them the full rights of citizenship and failed to protect them from widespread terror and violence. E, along with a dereliction of the United States duty to protect its African American citizens, direct state and local government actions in California continue to enforce the racist lies created to justify slavery. These state laws and government supported cultural beliefs have since formed the foundation of innumerable modern laws, policies, and practices across the state and nation. Even after the abolition of slavery, its badges and incidences remain embedded in the political, legal, health, financial, educational, cultural, environmental, social, and economic systems of the United States of America and the state of California. Racist, casteist, untrue, and harmful stereotypes created to support slavery continue to physically and mentally harm African Americans today. G, without a remedy specifically targeted to dismantle our country's racist policies and practices and heal the injuries inflicted by colonial, state, and American governments, the quote badges and incidences of slavery, end quote, will continue to harm African Americans in almost all aspects of American life. H, the legislature recognizes and accepts responsibility for all of the harms and atrocities committed by representatives of the state who promoted, facilitated, enforced, and permitted the institution of chattel slavery and its legacy of ongoing badges and incidences of slavery that form the systemic structures of discrimination. I, the legislature intends that the benefits issued under this chapter be dedicated to policies or programs that address the harm that the state of California has caused the descendants of an African American chattel enslaved person or descendants of a free black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. 6631A, there is hereby created in the state treasury the Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice for the purpose of funding policies approved by the legislature and the governor that address the harm that the state of California has caused the descendants of an African American chattel enslaved person in the United States or descendants of a free black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. Looks like, okay, B. The Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice may receive monies from any other federal, state, or local grant or from any private donation or grant for the purpose of this chapter. Alrighty. Any comments, or shall we move to the next one?
Well, I guess Kim already pointed it out, but one of the biggest comments or glaring absences is any co-authors or anything like that. Nothing. Very glaring.
Yeah, it's it's interesting how Senator Bradford is the only author on here, and it's just one of those things where it's like, as we say, without cash, it's really not reparations. So I don't know why we're
hedging this.
Yeah, going around the tulips, dancing around the tulips. It's just like, normally people who need to be compensated and repaired, through the reparations process, have some kind of mechanism to receive those cash payments, and this bill is one of them. So I'm actually quite shocked that we don't have any more authors and co-authors on here. But
well, salute to Bradford, the lone brave wolf.
Absolutely. All right. So let's go to the next one.
Well, if we can go back to 1331 for 1 second.
All right.
And like you said, it's the vehicle. And if you go down to the last part, that's why I know where to go down to, maybe the last page. SB 1331 is a vehicle. 6631A, it creates the state fund.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle, it has to be approved by this is the vehicle, but the funds, have to be approved by the governor and the legislature. So what is the issue with no co-signers and no co-authors on this? This is the vehicle. The money part hasn't even came yet.
All right.
And I'd probably just be quiet. We can move on.
Yeah. You plead the fifth. Huh?
Let me just keep my thoughts to myself. My intrusive thoughts.
Yes. But it's just, we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, shout out to Senator
Bradford.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All righty. So I guess let's go to 1050. Kim, do you want to take this one? Or at least start off?
I'll start it off.
Appreciate that.
All right. So SB 1050, California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, racially motivated eminent domain. Looks like the last amendment to this bill took place on June the 12th, 2024. California Legislature 2023-2024 regular session. Senate Bill number 1050, introduced by Senator Bradford, co-author Senator Smallwood Cuevas. Then we also have co-authors in the Assembly, members Bonta, Bryan, Gibson, Holden, Jackson, Jones Sawyer, Carla, McCarty, McKinner, Wilson, and Weber. First introduced February 7th, 2024, an act to amend section 11041 of and to add chapter 4, commencing with section 16005 to part 14 of division 3 of title 2, the government code relating to state government. Legislative Council Digest. SB 1050 as amended, Bradford, California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, racially motivated eminent domain. Existing law establishes until January 1st, 2030, the Racial Equity Commission with the Office of Planning and Research and requires the Commission to develop resources, best practices, and tools for advancing racial equity by, among other things, developing a statewide racial equity framework that includes methodologies and tools that can be employed to advance racial equity and address structural racism in California. This bill will require the Office of Legal Affairs, which would be established within the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency as provided by SB 1403 of the 2023-24 regular session, to, upon appropriation by the legislature, review, investigate, and make certain determinations regarding applications from persons who claim they are the disposed owner as defined of property taken as a result of racially motivated eminent domain. The bill would define racially motivated eminent domain to mean when the state, county, city, and county, district, and other political subdivision of the state acquires private property for public use and does not distribute just compensation to the owner at the time of the taking, and the taking or the failure to provide just compensation was due in whole or part to the owner's ethnicity or race. Upon a determination that providing property or just compensation is warranted as provided, the bill would require the Office of Legal Affairs to certify that the disposed owner is entitled to the return of taken property as specified or other publicly held property as defined of equal value or financial compensation as specified upon a determination that the disposed owner is entitled to other publicly held property of equal value. The bill would require the Office of Legal Affairs to solicit and select, as specified, a list of recommendations of publicly held properties that are suitable as compensation as provided. Upon a rejection of the determination of the Office of Legal Affairs by the state or local agency that took property by racially motivated eminent domain, the bill would authorize the disposed owner as specified to bring an action to challenge the taking or the amount of compensation as provided. Upon a determination that an applicant is not a disposed owner or issuing property or just compensation is not warranted, the bill will require the Office of Legal Affairs to notify the applicant of its finding and provide an appeals process as specified. The bill would make every finding, decision, determination, or other official act of the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency subject to judicial review. Existing law generally prohibits state agencies from employing in-house counsel to act on behalf of the agency or its employees in judicial or administrative adjudicative adjudicative. Okay, thank you. Adjudicative proceedings, but exempts specified agencies from this provision. The bill would exempt the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency from that provision. This bill would make related findings and declarations, including those related to gifts of public funds. Vote majority, appropriation no, fiscal committee yes, local program no. And Miss Darlene, if I could hand the baton to you.
Thank you very much. I will accept it. The people of the state of California do enact as follows. Section 1, Section 11041 of the Government Code is amended to read 11041A. Section 11042 does not apply to the Regents of the University of California, the trustees of the California State University, Legal Division of Department of Transportation, Division of Labor Standards, Enforcement of the Department of Industrial Relations, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board, Public Utilities Commission, State of Compensation Insurance Fund, Legislative Council Bureau, Inheritance Tax Department, Secretary of State, State Lands Commission, Alcoholic Beverages Controls Appeals Board, except when the board affirms the decision of the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, Department of Cannabis Control, except in proceedings in state or federal court, the State Department of Education, Department of Finance Protection and Innovation, the California American Freedmen's Affairs, and the treasurers with respect to bonds, nor to any other state agency which, by law enacted after Chapter 213 of the Statutes of 1933, is authorized to employ legal counsel. B. The trustees of California State University shall pay the cost of employing legal counsel from their existing resources. Section 2, Chapter 4, commencing with Section 16005, is added to Part 14 of Division 3 of Title 2 of the Government Code to read, Chapter 4, Restitution of Race-Based Eminent Domain. 16005A, the legislature finds and declares that it is the public interest to compensate victims of racially motivated eminent domain which deprive persons of just compensation for their property due to racially discriminatory motives. The unjust taking of land without fair compensation destroy communities for as many from the historical neighborhoods, deprive those persons of fair value of their property, and in many cases prevented the accumulation of generational wealth. Providing compensation to these victims of racially discrimination would restore the value of wrongfully taken property to dispossessed owners, and hold government entities responsible for their wrongful discriminatory acts. B. This chapter shall govern the procedure by which dispossessed owners and the descendants may seek a determinant that they were victims of racially motivated eminent domain and seek the return of property, other property of equal value, or financial compensation. 16006A. For purposes of this section, the following definitions apply. 1. Dispossessed owner means a person who has had property taken from them by the state, county, city and county, district, or other political subdivisions of the state within just compensation as a result of racially motivated eminent domain or a direct descendant of a person whose property was taken. 2. Publicly held property means property that is owned by the state or local agency that took possession of the property that is the subject of an application submitted pursuant to this section. 3. Racially motivated eminent domain means when the state, county, city and county, district, or other political subdivision of the state acquires private property for public use and does not distribute such compensation to the owner at the time of the taking, and the taking or the failure to provide just compensation was due in whole or in part to the owner's ethnicity or race. B. Upon appropriation of the legislation, the Office of Legal Affairs within the California American Freedmen's Affairs Agency shall do all of the following. 1. Accept applications from persons who claim they are dispossessed owners of property taken as a result of racially motivated eminent domain. 2A. Review and investigate applications submitted under paragraph 1. B. As part of the review of the Legal Office of Affairs may request submission of additional information supporting the application that is reasonably necessary to verify the application, determine whether the applicant is a dispossessed owner, and determine whether the taking was racially motivated. If the office makes a request for the additional documentation, it shall communicate that request to the applicant within notice of the additional information required. The office shall consider any additional information provided by the applicant within 30 days of the receipt of the notice. 3. After reviewing all the relevant materials, determine whether the applicant is the dispossessed owner of the property taken through racially motivated eminent domain. 4. Under the Office of Legal Affairs, determines that an applicant has established that they are a dispossessed owner. Under paragraph 3, the office shall determine 1. The present day fair market of the value that was taken from them by the state, county, city and county, district, or other political subdivision of the state as a result of racially motivated eminent domain. 2. Whether ensuring property or just compensation to the dispossessed owner would serve to redress past acts of racial discrimination, prevent further acts of racial discrimination, and benefit the whole of the community and its general welfare. B. If the Office of Legal Affairs determines that providing property or just compensation is warranted under Clause 2 of Subdivision A, the Office of Legal Affairs shall certify that the dispossessed owner is entitled to return of the property. If it is still in possession of the public entity that did the taking, or publicly held property of equal value or financial compensation. C. If just compensation warranted, that compensation from the state or local agency shall be the amount of the fair market value of the property as determined pursuant to Clause 1 of Subparagraph A minus the amount of the time of the taking adjusted for inflation. D. If the Office of Legal Affairs determined pursuant to paragraph B that the depossessed owner is entitled to other publicly held property of equal value, it shall solicit and select from the state or other jurisdiction as applicable a list of recommendations of publicly held properties that are suitable as compensation. If no publicly held property is suitable for compensation, the Office of Legal Affairs shall determine an amount of just compensation pursuant to subparagraph C. E1. If the state or local agency that took property by racially motivated eminent domain rejects the determination of the Office of Legal Affairs, the depossessed owner who is entitled to compensation as determined by the Office of Legal Affairs may bring an action to challenge the taking or the amount of compensation under the relevant provisions of eminent domain law, Title VII, commencing with Section 1230.0110 of Part 3 of the Code of Civil Procedure. 2. An action brought pursuant to this subparagraph shall not be subject to the statutes of limitations, whether the action is brought before or after the enactment of this chapter. F. Nothing in this chapter shall be a basis for disturbing or invalidating the title to any property taken by racially motivated eminent domain, other than through the procedure set forth in this section. 5. If the Office of Legal Affairs determines that the applicant is not a depressed owner or that ensuring property or just compensation is not warranted, the office shall notify the applicant of its finding. The applicant may appeal the determination within 60 days of receiving the notice and provide additional information to support their claim. The office shall consider the appeal and any new information provided and issue a determination on that appeal within 120 days. C. Every finding, decision, determination, or other official act of the California American Freedmen's Affairs Agency is subject to judicial review in accordance with law. Section 3. The legislature finds and declares that the additional of Chapter 4, commencing with Section 16005 to Part 14 of the Division 3 of Title 2 of the Government Code by this act serves as a public purpose and does not constitute a gift of public funds within the meaning of Section 6 of Article 16 of the California Constitution by redressing the past acts of racial discrimination, preventing future acts of racial discrimination, and benefiting the whole of the community and its general welfare. I think that's it for, is there more, Yamoya? I think that's it.
Yes, that is it. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Darlene. Once again,
Welcome.
Wonderful read. So it looks like there are some updates to this 1050. Let's go over them real quick. Let's start from the top. As with 1403, SB 1403, it looks like, if I'm correct, all of the CLBC members are now co-authors of this bill, along with Kalra, who is the chair of the Appropriations Committee in Assembly.
No, he's the chair of the Judiciary Committee.
Did I say Appropriations?
Yeah,
Thank
you got
for that.
Appropriations on your
Appropriations
mind.
on my mind, exactly.
Yeah.
Judiciary. Thank you for that correction. And yeah. So what else do we have here?
And using the word dispossessed
Yes.
instead of rightful.
Dispossessed.
Yes,
Interesting.
dispossessed. Yeah, it is.
I guess they feel like that's more of a more direct term to use.
Legal.
Than rightful, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Let me look that up.
Okay, the return of taken property specified or other publicly held property. Okay. Let's see what it said before. Specified property or compensation from the fund for. All right. So looks like if I'm correct, then they removed the fund part. FUND, not FUN, but FUND for reparations, basically. And then added, looks like the Office of Legal Affairs. So that's something to note.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to be paid out of the reparations fund that we don't know where the money's coming from for compensation cases.
Doesn't look like it so far.
Well, that would be a reason for the fund.
But
Right.
they scratched out the fund.
Well, I know, but the owner is entitled to specific property or compensation from the fund for reparations and reparative justice, which would be established, yes, by SB up, yes. But I'm just saying that would be a good place for it to come.
Right.
I know it, and it can be put back in, can it? If you scratch it out and you then you have to start the process over. I don't know where the money would come from.
Well, it does say at the end the bill would authorize the dispossessed owner as specified to bring an action to challenge the taking or the amount of compensation as provided. So, they do mention compensation here, but where that compensation is coming from, I mean, I didn't see it in here. Maybe I'm overlooking it, but yeah. Gonna have to figure that one out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, judicial.
The trustees of the California State University shall pay the cost of employing legal counsel. Okay. Got that part. Dispossessed again. Okay, so once again they removed the fund for reparations and reparative justice and place it with compensation and seek. Okay, let's read this part B again, just so at least I can better understand what's going on. This chapter shall govern the procedure by which dispossessed owners and their descendants may seek a determination that they were the victims of racially motivated eminent domain and seek the return of the taken property, other property of equal value, or financial compensation. All right. Looks like they added some definitions here.
Okay, might as well read what is a
dispossessed owner.
Dispossessed owner
means a person who has had property taken from them by the state, county, city and county, district, and other political subdivision of the state without just compensation as a result of racially motivated eminent domain or a direct descendant of the person whose property was taken. Okay, so maybe that's why they took rightful owner, so they can make room for the
descendant
as well.
Makes sense.
Is there lineage language in here? I don't think so. Right?
No.
Well,
I see a lot of scroll up. What term were they using? Racially
motivated. In that, yeah.
No, go up. All the way up.
All the way up.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the body. Affairs, American agencies, review, diagnose, policy.
Racially motivated?
Is that what they were saying? The Racial Equity Commission. Okay, existing law establishes until January 1st, 2030. So what happens after 2030? So it establishes a Racial Equity Commission within the Office of Planning and Research and requires the commission to develop resources, best practices, and tools for advancing racial equity by, among other things, developing a statewide racial equity framework. that includes methodologies and tools that can be employed to advance racial equity and address structural racism in California. So yeah, Racial Equity Commission.
Yeah, this is definitely not lineage specific here.
Right.
So
well, then
I
if
don't know what
it's
that
it's
means.
definitely not lineage specific, so I'm okay with not having funds taken out for this, because this is kind of wide open.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good point. All right, this bill will require that the Office of Legal Affairs, which is established within the California American Freedmen's Affairs Agency, provided by SB 1403. Okay. All right. Let's see here. What else? Okay. Warranted from the state to possess property if it is still in possession of the public entity that did the taking or other publicly. Okay. So it looks like they just added property, or they added more definition beyond just the property, and they just put if it is still in possession of the public entity that did the taking. Entitled to return the taken property if it is still possession. Okay, so I guess my question is, if it's not in the possession of the public entity, then what?
Well, they're saying there's three things can happen if the property is still in possession of a public entity that did the taking. The dispossessed owner can take that option, or other held property of equal value, they can have that option, or financial compensation. Now, it doesn't really say that they can decide, those options are on the table, but can you just pick which one? Or I'd rather have the financial compensation.
That's a good question. I know Kim and we were having an offline conversation about it, but I guess it isn't offline anymore. What would you, Darlene, if you had a choice between getting land or payout cash, which one would you choose?
There's a lot of things when you ask someone that. I think it's generational as well. For me, I would take the cash, but in turn, I would give it to my daughter, who could buy the land of her choice. So, and then my nephew thinks, reparations should just mean land. So, I think everybody has a different opinion on that. But no, you're going to give me my money. Because, no, and then land, do I get to pick the land? That would be a question for me. Or is it land that you pick for me that historically descendants have always gotten the lesser of the good lands? We didn't go into the suburbia, but all the apartments, those lands were built up around factories and, causing our children to have cancer. So, so to me, it's a lot of other things that would play into it for anybody else. But me, I'm personally taking the money.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting when you say that, because, I'm thinking about, in my particular case, I want to say my aunt, she was part of that whole eminent domain process. And I can't remember exactly where, and I still have to look further into it, but I believe it was something like the DMV took over, made into a parking lot or something like that. So now we have these public entities, but then we can't really even if they wanted to give us the property back, I don't even know if legally they can, because most of these are no, let me just say most, but I would just say when it's a situation where like it's like literally there's state or local or city government buildings there now, right? Then what do you do? I guess you don't even have a choice but to get financially compensated.
Yeah, I mean, it would be every situation to me would be a little different, as long as the applicant has proven that that is their property,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you,
Could be
Kim? What would you
anything.
take? I can't remember what you said.
Well, I mean, I said what you said, and if the conversation you're talking about that we had was we were talking about Daniel Blue in the downtown water district, and then you're like, oh, so he would own all this. I'm like, they're not gonna give him all this buildings, like
Mm-mm.
you said, the old Sacramento or whatever is already on it. So
And this is allegedly, by the way, family.
allegedly,
Yes,
there
allegedly.
was a just the city did just put forth a resolution for Daniel Blue to
Mm.
recognize his contributions, his early contributions, and starting the first AME church in the West out here. But yes, there was no discussion on what portions of land his family may have held. So that still needs to be determined. But as far as I think about the Bruce's Beach situation, I definitely would have wanted my beachfront property back.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, we would have had to work out some kind of deal where I don't know. I'm collecting the property taxes on those $22 million houses or something. I would have wanted my beachfront property back.
Well, that's if you have the fortitude to know what you're getting into as far as being able to take care of it. It's just like um, you're probably at a stage in your life where that would work for you, but somebody that's a little senior, do we really know how old the Bristol Beach's relatives are? Maybe they felt it was like more of a headache.
Right. You can check
Yeah.
the resolution right here on in the Mass Media Group as well regarding Daniel Blue. As a matter of fact, Les Robinson is a descendant. Les
Mm-hmm.
Robinson, just for those who aren't aware of who Les Robinson is, Les Robinson is a descendant of Daniel Blue, who is on the screen, who was once enslaved, and he was definitely a champion, with anti-slavery here in California, and established the first Black American faith-based institution, also known as St. Andrews, which my family has been a long time member of St. Andrews. But Les Robinson, yes, he is descendant of Daniel Blue. And so I think he's right now trying to find out, what happened, to his relatives' property. Like, where'd it go? He supposedly had all this land, and now what? Where are we at with this, family?
Right,
So,
and that's
Right.
what the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency is tasked to do
Mm-hmm.
in this 1050 legislation is figure it out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah, he would be a great blueprint of what they have in store to come.
Right,
No
but I
doubt.
agree with Darlene. It's going to be on case by
It's a
case
case by
basis.
case. Yeah.
but
Mhm.
yeah, Bruce's Beach.
Yeah, you don't have to give my
Yeah.
stuff back.
But would you?
Yeah,
But
that
if
was
I had
crazy.
that money, would I? In me personally, would pass it to my daughter, encourage her to buy some land. Of course,
I
but
mean,
you know,
but wasn't one of the issues, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is because like the tax on that, the
yeah, for the Bruce's
land was
Beach
just
property,
crazy.
yeah. I mean,
So they was probably
and
like,
I understand what
nah.
you're saying, Kim, but $20 million is something to write home to.
Yeah, the tax bill would have been out of control, and then also the zoning of that area didn't allow for building up on it. So there was really nothing you could do
Do.
with it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, that's just the
That's
way that the legislation. That's just the way the
crazy.
legislation was written. I mean, we would have had to have a better starting negotiation.
Absolutely. I mean, but see, these are the harms that we're talking about, right? I mean, what people have to understand is like, I know we understand this, but we're saying this in public, that when we say we're fighting for reparations, we're fighting for a group of people that literally, historically speaking, and to present, that when we get into these scenarios and situations, harms have happened. And then now we're in the present, like, for example, Bruce's Beach. We can't do this with it. We can't do that with it. We're taxed. Instead of, at the time, letting those beautiful Black American people, let them be, let them do their thing like other white people, right? We're doing. Just let them be, because we're American. But nah, they didn't. Now, their families having to deal, even though I'm glad that they got compensated, but 20 million? Are you serious? Like, do you know what that property is worth?
Well, we do, but
that's
I'm just
nuts.
saying, but like with the zoning and the big, what could they do? You know what I'm saying? Kim made a good point. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to build on it.
Right, they would have been tied up in all type of red tape as far as that is concerned. But when you really put it into context, and because when we were out there, and we have a scene in Reparations now, the documentary that's currently streaming on Tubi TV, so you can go back and watch that. We spoke with somebody who was out in the Bruce's Beach area, letting us know, the pricing of the property out there. He was talking about $22 million houses. So one house was worth more than what they were compensated for. Yes. Yeah, in the return of their land. So there's that. And then there's also a scene with Les Robbins, you say, the descendant of Daniel Blue, in there telling his story. So watch Reparations now, the documentary on Tubi, if you have not seen it yet. A lot of historical information contained in that documentary there.
And also, he gave public comment, and wasn't he also an expert witness testimony during the California Reparations Task Force? I know he gave public
scheduled. I think he was scheduled to be, but I don't know if he ever. Well, he might have. I just
he definitely was at the task force hearing at Mills College.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely was there for that. But I thought he had also given expert testimony. But
absolutely. All right, family. Well, you want to go over some of these assembly members for the Appropriations Committee?
Yeah, let's take a look at who's in there.
Coming up for the upcoming and historic occasion.
So let's see here. The people that we know. We have Miss this is Kate Sanchez. And as you guys may remember her from the 1331 hearing, she had some strong comments to make. Matter of fact, why don't we just take a listen to what she had to say.
The cost of the harms make this minuscule based on the debt and harm that was created through slavery.
Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Republican colleagues for coming to committee today. After boycotting the previous committee, it's really important to go on the record and formally oppose reparations. So I want to thank them for doing so.
We were at every single moment of every single hearing. Task force did not, and the comments of the task force did not say that the state should pay $800 billion. The task force economists said that the state of California stole $800 billion in wealth from the descendants. That is what the state stole from us. Now it's up to this legislature to decide what the bill is, but your comments are incorrect.
All right, so that's what Miss Kate, let's see, we're in the Assembly, Kate Sanchez. She is the vice chair of the Appropriations Committee. So we will see if she has changed her stance any moving into the appropriations hearing, that remains to be seen. Then we have
And
a
also,
chair.
she was not in office during the AB 3121 vote.
She was not in office during
Oh, no.
AB 31. So this is her first go around voting on reparations bills. The chair of this committee is Buffy Wicks. That's just something to note. And it looks like we do have an ally in Isaac Bryant, Assembly Member Isaac Bryant, who is also on the CLBC. Just to note a few.
All right, so here is the Appropriations Committee. There are 15 of them. As Kim mentioned, we have Buffy Wicks as the chair, Kate Sanchez as the vice chair. Buffy Wicks is a Democrat and Kate Sanchez is a Republican. We also have Dr. Joaquin Arambula of District 31, who's a Democrat. We have Isaac Bryan, who is a Democrat, as Kim mentioned, part of the CLBC. District 55, we have Lisa Calderon, who's District 56, a Democrat. We have Wendy Carrillo, who is a Democrat, District 52. Diane Dixon, Republican, District 72. I'll leave my comment for her for last. Mike Fong, Democrat, District 49. Timothy Grayson, Democrat, District 15. Matt Haney, District 17, Democrat. We have Greg Hart, Democrat, District 37. Republican Jim Patterson of District 8. He's temporarily serving on the committee on days that Assembly Member Dolly, is it Dale, fam? I can't remember. Daly,
Daly. Mm-hmm.
Is absent from committee. And we have Gail Palerin, who's a Democrat, District 28. Tree Ta, who is a Republican, District 70. We have the Democrat, Carlos Villapudua, Carlos Villapudua, who is District 13. So those are your Appropriations Committee members. And there's 15 of them. So if my calculation is correct, the majority vote would need to be 8 to pass these wonderful reparations bills through the Appropriations Committee. And Diane Dixon, as we know, believe her last vote was no on SB 1331 and 1403, and I believe I think she's in the judiciary, if I recall correctly, as well. I think she voted yes on 1050, but we have to go back to see the vote count on that one. I don't think we have the overlay. Do we, Kim, on the last vote or no? I don't think we do. So anyway, that is the assembly for that one, for the appropriations. I think that's about it.
Okay, I just came back to Buffy Wicks real quick to check her AB 3121 vote, and it looks like she abstained at that time. So that's just something to note. We have the vice chair was not in office, and the chair abstained from voting, and Assemblymember Bryant was not in office at the time.
What? Can we go back to Buffy? Buffy Wicks. All right, what district she's in? She's in District 14, and that's where up in the Bay Area, right? Yeah, it looks like
Alameda,
Alameda.
Contra Costa,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's in the Bay Area. Berkeley, Richmond. All right, family. So if y'all out there in the in her district, y'all hit her up, because technically we all can, you know, give our support for these three bills, but specifically if you're in that district.
In that district,
yeah,
looks like
definitely
she
need to-
has 52,000 plus Black or African American constituents in her district. So definitely hit her up and let her know that these important votes are coming up, and maybe question why she abstained from AB 3121 vote back in 2020. Get her thoughts, fill her out, check her temperature on reparations.
Exactly. All right, I think that's about it. Kim, do you mind putting up the cover for Wednesday? It's upcoming Wednesday. Thank you very much. All right, for the California Appropriations Committee Assembly hearing, June 16th, 2024. We plan on live streaming this, so definitely be in the virtual building. And hopefully, crossing fingers, we will also have some representation there in the Appropriations Committee hearing as well. And I gotta give flowers all the time where flowers are due. Gotta thank Miss Kim and Miss Darlene for being the wonderful soldiers and on the ground and in these hearings, in their presence, and also everybody else who shows up to these hearings. We greatly appreciate everybody that does have the initiative and somewhat the time to carve out to go and show up, because hey, we got to be there in the building, and so I just want to say, give y'all some kudos and props and say, definitely appreciate you, and your due diligence for being there, because you're taking your time out of your day to be there. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, and
Yes, very
absolutely, it's an honor.
Honor.
So I got to give y'all this. Straight fire, family.
All right, so we'll be back at it again this
Wednesday.
next Wednesday. Yes, next Wednesday, which is June 26th, 9:30 a.m.
Exactly. And just real quick before we get out of here, so I know there was a lot of Juneteenth festivals and things going on. Darlene, how was your Juneteenth weekend?
Actually, my Juneteenth was good both days. Gave out a lot of flyers, able to talk to people. And then the second day was music that, John B, but that wasn't really my flavor. But people seem to have enjoyed it. So it was nice.
And what kind of recognition did they give him again, Darlene?
They gave it was put on by the Fairfield Solano County Black Chambers of County. So they gave him the first ever Juneteenth recognition award, and I don't even remember the exact title of it anymore. Recognizing this, supporting.
So was this the first Juneteenth in Solano?
In Fairfield, not in Sassoon.
Oh, but in
Fairfield, yes,
it was your first Juneteenth.
It was the first Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
No mention of reparations, because without, they kind of go together.
Now, when you were out there in Fairfield, how was the feedback in terms of reparations?
Well, when I was able to canvass, it was excellent. Also in Sassoon, Saturday was excellent.
Good.
So there's that. Can you sign up for the tags? Use the QR code to sign up so you can continue to get the updates. I don't know if that translates into that. But they were definitely. I didn't get any bad vibes at all. Not at all. Very positive. Just some questions, but that's to be understood.
Did you feel since we've been tracking the reparations coming out here or happening here in California, especially pre AB 3121? Do you think people are more receptive to the information? You think more people are more aware about what's happening here in California for the people that you talk to?
I think what has happened is, my sense, some of the folks that I've talked to knew about the passage of the bills through Senate, and I was going through Assembly. I think that when that happened, I think people's ray of hope kind of started getting a little brighter. I cannot, say I don't understand their skepticism. I do understand it. I mean, we've been kicked down the road for so long, But I think with them passing out of Senate, I think it's a ray of hope, for people. I mean, that's just kind of how I feel about it. I mean, because they knew about it. I'm not saying everyone knew about it, but some people knew about it, so they're following it somewhere. So that's a good sign. But do I think there's still education and more understanding to come? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we get out of here too, Kim and myself, we had the opportunity here in Sacramento to go to some of these, actually probably the two biggest Juneteenth affairs here in Sacramento. One at the park known as William Lamb Park, which is a huge park here in Sacramento, and also one in an historically quote unquote African American or Black American community in Oak Park,
which
being gentrified as we speak. But
yes, in the Oak Park area, and they had it in an area specifically called the 40 Acres Complex. So it's definitely,
is that the actual name?
Yes.
It is
40 Acres Complex. It is indeed. So yes, handed out lots of flyers. I will have to say though, at both festivals, I was the only one in official Juneteenth red, white, and blue official colors. So there's still much work to be done.
No, there's still work to be done.
Yeah, to get everybody on the same page on the true meaning of Juneteenth and the colors that represent that day.
Yes. And the thing with it is, I saw one post on Facebook, I forgot the brother's name, I did share it out, and he had a big table. He felt that, and I can't remember what it was, he felt that this year it was less. The two events that I went to, I would say the majority, if they wore Juneteenth, it was red, white, and blue. That I would, yes, you had some Pan-Africanism, you had those colors, but even if they wasn't sporting red, white, and blue, a lot of it was just vendors who were selling different wares. So it didn't seem so dominating, you know what I mean? But there's still work to do.
All right. And speaking of Juneteenth, we are currently having some footage that is basically in the vault, in the archives that we're posting, ETM Media Group. And I think CJEC was down in Los Angeles in 2022. And so we did a lot of boots on the ground talking to the community. So we'll be posting that probably up throughout the weeks. Trying to get some of that content up, before 4th of July or going into 4th of July. So be on the lookout for that, family. As always, like, share, and subscribe our content, and go support where you can through Amazon or through our ETM Media Group store page. I think we do have a Cash App somewhere, but I don't even know where it's at.
And watching Reparations now, the documentary. So are you going to tell them what we did on actual Juneteenth, Emoya?
I think I was supposed to, but as always, we get sidetracked. So yeah, thanks, Kim. Reel us back into it. So yeah, so we participated. Well, okay, so when was it? The year before, I think we had a booth. Was it last year?
Yeah.
It was last year at the park.
Time flies. So last year we actually had a booth. This year we didn't have a booth because we wanted to go canvassing. So we went there to Land Park first, which was cool. It was actually pretty well attended. Had a chance to talk to some people. Actually talked to a couple people from Los Angeles, originally from Los Angeles. They moved up to Sacramento a couple of years ago. Had a chance to talk to them. People were receptive. I didn't get a lot of pushback. I didn't get a lot of like, oh, what they gonna do with their money type of thing. People were pretty receptive. Like, oh, cool. I actually talked to this one brother too. He said that, his family got some property taken, not necessarily here in California, but his ancestors from North Carolina got some property taken regarding eminent domain that we spoke about today. So had a chance to talk with him, and as Kim was saying, just went around, try to talk to the people and so forth. And surprisingly, there was actually some good bands there this year, really good music too.
Okay, well, thank you for that update on Juneteenth weekend. But I said what we do on Juneteenth.
Actually Juneteenth.
I give you some help.
Thank you, Kim. All right, so see, this brain's moving 300,000 miles per hour. So so we actually went and spoke to some members of St. Andrews. They had a Juneteenth event at the church. So Kim and myself, we had a wonderful time there. Did a presentation about.
It was a wonderful event.
10 minutes. They had a.
So there was a presentation scheduled, or it was ad hoc? They just allowed you guys to present.
It was scheduled. It was scheduled in advance, but I mean, we didn't have like a what is it called when you have a
itinerary or
agenda.
Yeah,
we didn't even have a what is it? The boards, the screens,
the slideshows.
The slides. Yeah, we didn't have anything like that.
We was just up there freestyling.
So the DJ gave us the mic, and then we, spoke to, the members there. And at first, when I spoke to the person who was the event planner, coordinator, said, "Oh, there might be like maybe 10 to 20 people there, whatever." There was more of the people there that showed up. It was really cool. It was probably like maybe 70. I want to say.
Wow, that's a good crowd.
Yeah, and they were very engaged, and it was potluck style. So I mean, I had a full plate.
Yeah, Kim was throwing down on the plate.
And Kim, potluck means bring. What did you bring?
Well, see, I didn't know.
Kim brought herself, darling.
I brought myself, and I actually brought some manifestation planners.
Yes, we did.
Well, just say that. Just say that.
So I brought that.
Down, you had you a plate, huh?
I did. I did.
Food?
It was. It was a little bit of everything. I do have to tell you. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, Kim had a mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese, the mac and cheese, the red beans, the rice, the whole Juneteenth spread.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Did they have mac and cheese?
They had mac and cheese. They had red beans and rice. The whole Juneteenth spread, cornbread.
They have some red Kool-Aid.
All the fixes. They did have red Kool-Aid. Don't trip. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I remember the first time I heard about the red Kool-Aid was actually from Senator Bradford. He was talking about the red Kool-Aid.
Shoot, yeah, for real. That's what we called it, red Kool-Aid. And I don't remember calling the other. Maybe Kool-Aid was like the number one, but I don't remember saying purple Kool-Aid, or did you say grape Kool-Aid?
Grape drink.
Grape
but it was
drink.
always red Kool-Aid. Why not green Kool-Aid for lime? And why not? But it was definitely red Kool-Aid.
Red, yeah. So
Yeah.
the traditions were definitely alive at St. Andrew's
Oh,
Church.
great! That was great.
Yeah, no, it was good turnout, and they actually.
Was there anything on the table for you to eat?
Every once in a while it is. They had fruit.
But was at this particular venue joint?
Yeah, they had fruit.
Fruit, okay.
Fruits and
I'm
salads.
plant-based. Fruit and little salads. So yeah, so I had my little something.
Radish.
I ate a little bit before too.
Oh yeah, and I had catfish and fried chicken.
No. Okay, that's enough, Kim. That's enough. You know what?
Yeah,
this
Kim-
is like not fair.
Kim's plate was full. I wish we'd have taken pictures, but yeah,
Okay,
I was
she
just
normally
like,
does. Why didn't you take a picture? You should have shoved it in my face.
I
know,
I know. But it made for some good leftovers. I was like, "You gonna get me a piece of foil from Inky? I need a piece of foil right now."
No, literally, my aunt was there.
Literally.
Literally,
She had
my
the
aunt was
foil.
there.
She
Yeah, my
had
aunt
the
had
foil.
the foil.
She had
Yeah,
the
she was
foil.
volunteering with a couple other members with helping out back there in the kitchen. So shout out to my aunts. Love
Yes,
her.
it was
Shout
a beautiful, beautiful event.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but Kim had her plate. It was stacked. I was like, "You gonna eat all that?" And it's just
Shit.
like,
I was like, "I'ma
try."
try.
Shoot, what are you saying?
But yeah, no.
And then
it was
Kim,
good.
she the leftover queen. She eating it the next day.
I know,
You got
right?
that
So,
right.
It ain't going to waste.
Sure ain't.
She can make a meal out of make 2 meals out of one or 3 meals out of one. She good with that mess.
It was
She good. I'm
definitely
eating
some
it.
good eating.
Mm-hmm.
Make a lemon out of
Definitely.
lemonade and
Okay.
dollar out of 15 cents. You know how it goes. You know how we do. Gotta make it happen.
Make it happen.
All right,
Yeah.
family. So we'll definitely see you back on Wednesday, the 26th. So we greatly appreciate your energy and time into this most needed and obviously owed reparations here in California. So as they say, so goes California, so goes the nation, right?
That's right.
All right, so family, thank you again for your time and attention. Appreciate you. And we'll see y'all later. As always, peace and reparations.
Reparations.
Lineage.
Leading with lineage.
California Reparations Task Force hearings.
Final report recommendations.
California Freedmen Affairs Agency, COFA office.
The Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice.
Free the land, eminent domain, unjust property taking return.
The Mass Media Group was there. Reparations Now, the documentary where it all began.
Released Juneteenth, 2023.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR room, don't tune in.
Available to watch on Tubi TV and other streaming outlets. As always, thank you for the support. Please like, share, and subscribe to your #1 source for reparations and news. Until next time, peace and reparations.